Hello, welcome to hell. This is White Devil and I run the show. This is my fourth video. I want to refer people again back to my first video due to the claims that I made there and why specifically I've named this channel White Devil. This video will be a further analysis of the article for which my last video was the analysis of just the first portion of that article. This will be the remainder of the article. So let's get into it. 10 reasons why black people shouldn't celebrate Independence Day. Frederick Douglass. Okay. So again, this is really racist stuff. It's a racial zero-sum game here. As well as just conflating the Declaration of Independence with white supremacy, racism, etc., etc. Now, but what are the reasons for this that he's claiming to give? Okay. America hated us even before July 4th, 1776. So America doesn't hate anybody. America is a nation. The United States of America is a nation. We don't hate anybody. It is impossible for us to hate or love anyone or anything. This is just a personification of an entire country, and it does so fairly ineffectively to make it seem like this kind of ultimate racial antagonist towards black people. Number two, 41 of the 56 signers of that historic document enslaved black folks. I think the language here is sort of misleading. They didn't enslave black folks. They purchased black folks who were already enslaved. It's slightly different, but it's just a level of activity versus passivity that I think we should point out now. Here we have how many people Thomas Jefferson enslaved. That's just trivia. I'm not going to fact check this stuff. I mean, that's literally just trivia. Here we have slavery was legal in all colonies, etc., etc. So more just trivia about the history of slavery in the United States of America and prior to the Declaration of Independence in 1776. This one's interesting. All men are created equal. There were 500,000 enslaved black persons in the 13 colonies from that period to 1800. So equality before the law is not the same thing as an equal or equivalent social status. Slavery was a social status. It was not a standing in the eyes of the law or in terms of the political institutions. So that really should be clarified there. Here we have stuff about black soldiers during the Revolutionary War. It states that they were re-enslaved. Again, I'm not fact-checking this stuff. I'm just trying to point out the larger structure of the argument here, or lack thereof. Here we have more about George Washington. Think about that when you think about that white general who led his white country to victory after declaring white independence on July 4th. So this is racism. And why is this racism? Because this is projecting present racial standards back in time onto these events. They were not declaring white independence. They just declared independence. But the fact that this person sees it this way lets us know that his own thinking has been severely distorted by racial sentiment in the present time. Here we have the Constitution as a racist document, right? Again, these are just clerical details of what was going to occur when a person with the social status of slave maybe escaped or maybe had to be returned or whatever it was. These are not philosophical treatises of how black people are worthless, or how white people should hate black people, or anything like that. So we're just seeing clerical details being deployed here. Finally, we have a list of people who owned slaves who were high-ranking officials. And again, it's really important to point this out. Say that you buy a car, right? Nobody would then turn around and say that you were a critical element in the automotive industry, right? That's not how that would go. You simply purchased a vehicle. And in this way, these men were using sociological tools that were available to them, which was the institution of slavery. It's not evil any more than it's good. It's just a sociological tool that they used. Slaves were available. They purchased slaves and used their labor in their lives. Number 10, finally, following the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and the Revolutionary War victory in 1783, some of America's greatest facilities symbols were built not by free white men. Instead, they were built by enslaved black men. Yes, that's true. So what? So here we see that this is not so much an argument as it is the assertion of a moral framework that is used to disqualify the value of the Declaration of Independence and the creation of the Union and various other things, including whiteness, racism, etc., etc. In other words, this person's not actually using these points to formulate an argument. Rather, they're using the points to assert a particular idea about how we should completely invalidate the history, basically, of the entire country, as far as I can see, or at least the early decades of the existence of the United States of America as a result of the presence of slavery and racism. So that's all this is. It's actually very simplistic. And while we might say that it's an interesting way to perceive the history of the USA, I think ultimately there's not too much that we can get out of this. So there you have it. When you disqualify a history like that, then what you're really saying is you're not actually interested in grappling with the facts of it, with the realities of it, and with the truth of the people who were behind those events, whether they were slave or free. Both of those things are actually being erased by this type of argument, which again is simply asserting a moral framework that we are supposed to be on board without any sense of complexity or nuance. So, hit the subscribe button down below. Please send me your comments. I'd like to hear what you think. And I'll see you guys next time.